Hey guys, Opal here, and today I'm going to be doing a speed build, and this is in the Grove. This is beside my build for the cottage using the new Belle's house, Gaston's and the fairy godmother. And for this side of the Grove, I just two spots with space for crops, and on this side I'm just doing a little bit of an area with two chests I end up putting here, and this is just to store any seeds or things that I'm planting in the area. It's mostly just for decoration. Here I'm just placing some trees, and I use these small wild tangle trees in most of the areas just so they don't block the way if they're too big, and these are the small and the large mossy trees. I use a lot of ferns and other foliage to line the path, and this is so I don't have to use as many rocks when I go through and line the borders. I line the borders so it gives a more curvy look. If I don't put rocks around the borders, I think it looks a little bit too harsh. So in a lot of my builds, I just put some rocks around, and sometimes I use a little bit more, sometimes I do a little bit more ferns or bushes, just depending on the space. If you guys have any ideas on any builds that you want me to do, or maybe just an idea for a biome, feel free to leave it in the comments, or you can private message me on my Instagram that's currently linked in my YouTube bio. Even if you just have a biome or a space that's decorated, I'd love to see it. Now that I've finished the border, I just go through with some of those rocks and I place them in the middle of the path, and I think it gives it a nice texture and makes it more of a natural feel. And I just use these fences that we get in the DLC, and I just make sure that I only place 3 at a time and then connect them one by one. And this is so they don't have that jagged look. And I'm just adding more trees and foliage around the space to fill it out. All the plants that I use in the build are the Forest of Valor flowers and ferns, the sunlit plateau ferns, and all of the wild tangle plants that we get. I also use a lot of barrels and craftable objects in this build because I really like the way that they look, and I think that they really suit the build. For this area, I just enclose this little circle kind of area, and I end up adding a couple trees, and I think it does a good job of separating the path a little bit. Now I start working on the smaller plot, and I just decide to use a couple of the bigger trees to fill out the space. And for this area, I mostly just put a lot of foliage and trees around to make it feel really cluttered and natural, and in the end I really love how it turned out. All of the wild tangle plants that we got are really awesome to use in spaces where you want them to feel really cluttered, because they only take up a really small space, so you can fit them really close together and even kind of overlap them. Now I'm just adding the Ancient's Landing lights, and I really like how these turned out. I don't use them in any of my other builds, but I'm super glad that I used them here. Now I'm just going through and I'm finding clutter items and seeing what fits. I end up using things like the tool rack and some small crates. And then I just decorate this little area by the bridge, and again I just use some trees and foliage to fill out the space. I also made sure to include a crafting table, so I just popped it in this little nook that I had. I also made sure that all of my fishing nodes and mining nodes were accessible and easy to maneuver around. And then I just go in and I just adjust some of the foliage that I've already placed and place some new foliage around just to finish it off. And here's the final walkthrough. I went and added some pumpkins, and I really love how this turned out. If you want to see the build next to it of the cottage itself, I'll link it at the end of this video. I would love to add more farm biomes or parts of biomes in my valley. This is my only one so far, and I'm really looking forward to adding these in every single one of my biomes. And here's the bird's eye view shot of this build. I love how the pathing turned out. This is also a really easy build to recreate. And here's it at night time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.